Daz Studio community. I want to thank you for joining me on my tutorial. This is not from this world, and I want to welcome you. Now tonight I want to talk a little bit more about render settings, especially the render settings that are in the sun sky environmental mode. I've been playing around a lot lately with some scenes using this render setting, and it's really cool. And so I thought I would expand on this a little bit from my previous video. You can find my previous video in a link at the end of this video. So if you want to go back and look at more environmental options, you can do that in that video. But today I want to focus just on the sun sky because I've really enjoyed working with it, and I think you'll find some of the features really cool. Now you can find this, remember, by going to your render settings and going to all, scrolling down until you find kind of this blue tabs, and right above the blue tabs you'll see your environment mode. And in the environment mode you can select dome and scene, dome only, sun sky only, and scene only. I think that Daz Studio just defaults to dome and scene, but like I said, I've been playing with this sun and sky only. And I know I showed this to you before, but you get some really cool effects. But what I want to focus on today is some of these features. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the sun sky features all have kind of a blue color, and they're going to start with SS. So like SS latitude, SS longitude, and so on. Now, the one really cool thing about this is we can change the position of the sun. For this demonstration, I'm just going to show you with her at the XYZ coordinates all being 0. So she's zeroed out, and then I kind of moved the scene so that it looks like she's still standing on this tower, as you can see here. So this is a really cool way to kind of demo some of the sun sky. And so I've got her set so that she's facing kind of the default position. And we're going to play around with some of this sun and sky environment tab. Now remember, you can also find all of these tabs in your scene tab under environment options. You can just click on them and see they're all right here too. So I'm just going to use it over here on the left just because it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to click on Milica. And we're going to go into iRay mode. So I apologize if my computer's a little loud, but for this tutorial, we're going to kind of keep it in iRay mode for most of the demo so you can see the cool changes. Now, in the default mode, so everything is set with the sun sky at a default, if I hit my iRay render, we're going to see some really cool contrast. It looks like the sun is shining maybe lower in the sky, and we get some really cool effects, and I've been using this a lot. You know, it makes some really nice shadows. Like you can see here, our character has some really gorgeous shadows. She's casting a nice shadow. There's some nice shadows from the building behind. And so what's really cool is we can manipulate this. And this is what I didn't really show you in that previous video. But because I've been playing around so much with it for some of my scenes, I thought, hey, let's make a video about this and just kind of go over it. First of all, let's look at this SS latitude. So, you know, we have latitude and longitude, and we can change this. So for some reason, and I don't really know why, it's defaulted at 40.76. But if we take this dial, we can move it, and you see the shadows move with the latitude. It also kind of sets the sun. So if you scroll it enough, not only does it move the shadows, you can see my shadows are moving as I move my latitude. But if I move it enough, the shadows actually will set like the sun is setting. And if I go all the way down to -90, you can see now that the scene, it looks like the sun is just at the tops of the building. And so we can play around with this. It's really pretty cool. You can see that I'm just manipulating position of the sun in the scene. So hopefully you can kind of see that as I move it. Daz iRay has to adjust here as I play around. But you can see how I'm moving the shadow with the latitude. I'm going to set this back to default so we can do some other contrasting here. All right. With longitude, we have a similar situation here. It's defaulted at -111 for some reason, but I can also move it, and you can see it changes the shadows. So if I need more contrast, or I don't like the shadowing on the character or on the background, I can use SS latitude and longitude to change the shadows. Now, the one thing that I found super cool about this sun sky mode is it has an SS day and it has an SS time. Now, the day is defaulted to March 10th of 2015. I don't know why it's that way. It just is. It also has a time defaulted to 6 p.m. So what you're looking at here, and I just zeroed everything back out to the default, my character is kind of standing in this position at 6 p.m. Now, I can change the date. Like today happens to be April 9th of 2024. So I can go in here and I can change the date to today. Today's the 9th, 2024. And it actually adjusts to today. And so now we're looking at the character as she's posing theoretically today. We can also mess with the time, and this is what is really cool. It's defaulted to 6 p.m., but if I go in here, I can change this to noon. So if I change this to 12 p.m., you can see it completely changes my shadows. So my shadows are now at 12 p.m. Now watch what happens. I'm going to just change the time from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. You can watch the shadows change. It is so cool. So you can set up your daytime. So if like you were making a comic, here's 4 p.m., you could adjust the time of day if the characters are all in the same place. There's 5 p.m., and so I just think this is really cool, and I've been playing around with this a lot. Here's the default at 6, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. You can see it's kind of getting dark. It must be daylight savings. It must be summertime. 9 p.m., and that's where the time ends, is at 9 p.m. And so I think this is awesome, and I have been using it a lot to adjust lighting. I have to admit, I'm making a comic right now where this is the only lighting I'm using because I'm so happy with it. If we go down, we can play around with some other things, but just to kind of show you, I've noticed a few changes in this. Our sun disk intensity is defaulted at 1. So for example, if I make it 10, it's going to make her much brighter. So if you need to make your scene brighter, or if you need to make your scene darker, we can go into the negative. So this is like -5. So we can play around with that. The default is at 1. And then the sun disk scale. This makes the sun disk that's in the sky a different size. It's defaulted to 1. I haven't noticed a whole lot of difference with this, but if we knock it up to 10, you can see it does play some role in our shadowing. Then we have the SS haze, and I've been playing with this, and it just kind of really changes. If we go up to 15 with the haze, it just kind of changes it to kind of more of a sepia, you know, that old kind of photograph look, which is kind of interesting. The blue-red tint, as you go down the scale, it makes things more blue in the picture. And if you go up, it makes things more red and orange in the picture. So if you want a nice sunset, you can just change this red-blue tint. Or if you want like a twilight moonlit, you can go into the blue. So you just have a lot of choices with this. Now the SS saturation also just saturates the picture with kind of a blue as we go up, and you can see it's just, she's getting more and more and more blue, which is interesting, just something to kind of play around with. The horizon height is kind of cool, and once again it just kind of changes the color of things as we play around with the horizon height. So you can see it just kind of changes where the horizon of your picture is going to be relative to the sun. So again, we're just kind of changing things from kind of a blue tint to a more yellow or red tint. And then I haven't really seen a lot of difference in this scene with our horizon blur, but this should blur the horizon as we manipulate it. We can blur that horizon in the background. So I really just think this is an awesome way to set up your lighting. And I recommend that you mess around with it and really just kind of play with it until you get an outdoor scene that you really like. What's cool is I've actually used this for indoor scenes too, where the light's coming in through a window, or I just remove a wall and then I can set up the lighting with that if I want kind of a nice contrast lighting situation. Okay, well that about does it. I set up his simple scene so I could just do a quick render of Milika because she's just so darn cute. So I hope this really helped. Play around with the sun, sky, environment mode, and let me know what you think about this. I think it has a lot of potential. Really easy way to get some awesome lighting into your scene. So let's render this up, and until next time, I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give me a comment or two.